Hello, soul family. Welcome to Spiritual Manifestation. If this is your first time, welcome in. And if you've been here before, I'm so glad to have you home. Today's reading is a no-contact message from your person. We're going to be tuning into their energy, how they're feeling about you, how they're seeing this connection, and any deeper truths that might be sitting in their heart right now, even if they haven't spoken them out loud. So let's get into it. Let's open up the energy, take a breath, and pull through a message straight from their heart space to yours. The first card I just pulled here is the Page of Swords. And right away, this energy came through so clearly. It's someone watching you, someone thinking back to a conversation they wish they could erase. Divine Feminine, there's a masculine you haven't heard from in a while. You two have been separated, and things were left in a way that wasn't soft or unfinished. It was sharp. Words were exchanged. Energy shifted. And now, he's looking back at it all, and he's realizing he was wrong. It's like he said something to you or handled you in a way that felt casual, maybe even careless. And now those words are echoing in his mind. He's not proud of how he acted. In fact, I keep hearing, "I'm eating my words," because back then he didn't see you clearly. He thought he did. He thought he knew what this connection was, what you were about. But your energy? It was cloaked, protected, and Spirit did that for a reason. You see, you weren't meant to be fully visible to someone who wasn't ready to honor you. And because of that, he treated you the way he's treated other feminine energies, like this was just another connection. But it wasn't. And the difference? He's now facing the consequences for it. Spirit is holding a mirror to him, showing him exactly what he mishandled. And it's showing up as judgment in his life. Not punishment, but clarity. And clarity can be harsh when it arrives too late. There's something about your energy, Divine Feminine, that is so protected, so spiritually guarded, that people can't just mistreat you and walk away untouched. Your presence carries angelic weight, and whether people recognize it or not, their spirit does. And this masculine, he's learning that now. He didn't realize who he was standing in front of. And now that you've pulled away, now that you've made a clean cut, the realization is sinking in. He didn't just lose someone, he lost you. And I feel like you've been wondering. You've had these quiet moments where your mind drifts back to him. Not because you want to go back, but because part of you can feel something shifting. You feel the weight of what he's carrying now. And you're right. He's reflecting, he's regretting. And more than anything, he's wishing he could go back to that final conversation and choose different words. Choose a different tone. Choose to see you for who you really are. And the part that stings the most for him, he knows you didn't leave out of anger. You left out of truth. You didn't slam the door. You just stopped waiting for him to open his eyes. And that energy, it lingers. Because when someone walks away in silence, not to hurt but to heal, that absence echoes. It follows him now, in moments of stillness, in the quiet spaces where he used to feel your light. And he's realizing you were never trying to change him. You were just offering him the space to rise. What's also coming through is this strange mix of longing and shame. Because now that he's reflecting, now that he's seeing what you were holding for him, he's battling with this inner voice that says, "You don't deserve her." That's the thing about divine energy. It humbles. It clears out illusions. It shows people who they are, not to break them, but to rebuild them. And right now, he's in that breakdown. The unraveling, the recognition that the one person who saw him clearly was the one he pushed away. And Divine Feminine, let's be real, you didn't just walk away, you elevated, You turned that pain into power. You didn't close your heart, you expanded it. And now, from a distance, he sees you becoming the version of yourself he never took the time to understand. And that's what's shifting the most. He's not just missing you. He's finally starting to see you. But here's the truth. He couldn't see you back then because he wasn't ready. Your light, your energy, it's not something that just anyone can access. And Spirit shielded you because you were meant to be honored, not misunderstood. And now that he's on the outside looking in, he's starting to understand just how rare your presence was. He's seeing the truth, and that truth is shaking him. So if you've been wondering what's going on with him, if you've been thinking about how life is treating him now, this is your confirmation. He's being humbled. He's seeing the full picture. And yes, he's feeling it. The things he said, the way he showed up, it's catching up with him. Not out of vengeance, but out of divine order. Because when someone mishandles a blessing, the lesson always follows. And you, Divine Feminine, you did the brave thing. You walked away. You chose peace. You poured your energy back into yourself. And even though part of you still wonders about him from time to time, deep down, you were never the one who needed to change. You were already aligned. He just couldn't see it. Until now. The next card we have here is the Eight of Cups. And this being the next card in the reading makes so much sense. Because what I'm feeling right now is the quiet ache of walking away, not out of anger, but out of exhaustion. Divine Feminine, I'm tuning into a connection that was stuck in that runner-chaser cycle for what felt like forever. A pattern where you were constantly reaching and they were constantly retreating. And it wasn't because you weren't enough. It's because your energy scared them in ways they didn't even understand. This masculine was the runner. That part is clear. But here's what's coming through that's a little more layered. He thought running was helping you. I know that might sound twisted, but in his mind, pulling back was the only way to protect you. It wasn't protection in the pure sense. It was protection through avoidance. Because deep down, he never thought he could actually measure up to the kind of love you were giving. He saw how open your heart was. He felt how pure your energy was. And instead of rising to meet you, he backed away. Quietly. Repeatedly. And here's the part you might not have realized until much later. You were sent to him. Spirit literally placed you in his life as a spark, a mirror, a light. You were there to show him what was possible, what love could be, what healing could feel like. You were offering him something higher, not just in words, but through the way you loved him, the way you saw him, even when he couldn't see himself. And he didn't know what to do with it. So what did he do? He ran. And every time you got close, every time you opened up, he pulled away. Not because you overwhelmed him with pressure, but because you overwhelmed him with truth. You made him feel. And for someone who had spent most of his life shutting down those deeper parts, that kind of love felt dangerous. It touched his core too fast, too deep. And it exposed all the places inside him that didn't feel worthy. If he could be totally honest, he'd tell you this. He thought leaving was doing you a favor. That by pulling back, he was giving you the space to find someone better. Someone who could actually meet you where you were. Because in his mind, he was never going to be that man. And so he did what he's always done. He let fear win. But the truth is, he always knew you were sent to him. And now, after the distance, after the silence, he's realizing just how sacred that was. Everything that was going over his head in the moment, it's hitting now, all at once, and it's heavy. He's sitting in reflection, feeling the weight of what he ran from. He's replaying the moments where you poured love into him and realizing how often he deflected it, rejected it, not because he didn't want it, but because he didn't think he deserved it. And Divine Feminine, this connection didn't just fall apart because it wasn't time or because the energy wasn't mutual. No, this masculine played a part in where things are now. He's facing that truth. And more than anything, he's facing judgment. Because spirit doesn't play when it comes to energy like yours. You were divinely guided into his life, and how he handled you mattered. Even though you may have moved on, even though you've poured all that love back into yourself, there's still this thread between you. He feels it. Every time he thinks about what he lost, your energy lingers. Not to punish him, but to remind him of the moment he turned away from something real, from something meant. So if you felt the tug of this connection lately, those moments where his name crosses your mind for no reason, or your chest feels heavy out of nowhere, you're not making it up. That's the energetic bond. That's your light echoing in his memory. Because whether he ever says it out loud or not, he knows the truth now. You were sent to him, and he ran. Moving on, I just pulled the High Priestess. And wow, this is the energy we're stepping into now. Divine Feminine, this card is you. This is your energy. You are the one who sees without needing to be told. You feel what others are too afraid to say. You walk into a room and people feel exposed without even knowing why. And that's exactly what happened here. Because the message I'm getting so clearly right now, this person was afraid of you. Not in the way people fear danger, in the way people fear truth. You triggered something in this masculine that no one else ever has. It wasn't your words. It wasn't anything you did wrong. It was your presence. You have a light that brings everything hidden straight to the surface, and he wasn't ready for that. The moment your connection began to deepen, he started to feel things bubbling up, old wounds, buried insecurities, thoughts he'd never said out loud. And he couldn't hide it from you. Because you see, you may not even realize how deeply intuitive you are. You may not fully grasp how powerful your presence is. But this masculine felt it immediately. When he looked into your eyes, it was like looking into a mirror that didn't lie. And while a part of him craved that truth, another part of him ran from it. Because truth means change, and change means letting go of control. I'm getting that he used to be in control, used to being the one who held the power in relationships. Maybe he even attracted partners who were easier to manage emotionally. But you're different. Your energy doesn't play small. You didn't chase, you didn't beg. You just showed up in your fullness, and it overwhelmed him. Not because you were too much, but because he didn't know how to rise to meet that kind of light. He may have even convinced himself that he was helping you by pulling away, that he was the one protecting you by distancing himself, when really he was protecting himself from transformation. This is someone who asked the universe for a partner who could elevate him, who could show him real love, who could reflect his soul back to him. And when you arrived, he panicked. You were the very thing he said he wanted, but you came in a form he didn't expect, bold, spiritual, radiant, and deeply connected to the divine. And here's the truth. He's never met anyone like you. Your light scared him because it exposed the places inside him that still lived in shadow. He was forced to feel things, to face things. And instead of surrendering to that healing, his ego stepped in. He tried to downplay what you saw, maybe even told you that you were reading into things too much. But you weren't. You were spot on. He didn't like that you could see straight through him, that you could name emotions he hadn't even processed yet, that when he shut down, you already knew why, that when he felt triggered, you could trace it back to the exact wound. He wasn't used to being known like that. And for someone who has spent most of his life wearing armor, being known felt like a threat. So if you're wondering why things fell apart, why he pulled away, why he acted cold when things started to get real, this is why. He was afraid of your power, and your power wasn't domination. It was presence. It was that soft, magnetic, undeniable energy that comes from someone deeply connected to the unseen. Someone who walks with angels even when she feels alone. He didn't understand it then, but he's beginning to now, and let me tell you, he's not forgetting you, not today, not ever, because you weren't just another connection. You were a spiritual awakening wrapped in human form. The next card I just pulled is the Five of Cups, and honestly, that card says it all. The energy coming through here is full of regret, heavy, sobering realization. Divine feminine, this masculine is finally seeing it. The grass wasn't greener, not even close. And what's wild is he had to go through the contrast. He had to sit in what he thought he wanted to realize what he gave up. This is someone who, at the time, made you feel like you were an option, like he had choices, like maybe something out there, someone else, some other life, could have made him happier. And you didn't beg. You didn't force it. You let him live with the choice he made. You didn't just walk away. You walked away with dignity. And now, he's stuck looking around at what he thought would fulfill him. And it's nothing like what he imagined. The room is colder, the energy is heavier, and nothing feels even close to what you brought into his world. You were healing, you were real, you were rare. But he couldn't see it clearly back then. And I feel this so deeply. Your light didn't just shine into the good parts of him. It exposed the hidden ones too. It lit up things he didn't want to deal with, things he thought he could bury. And instead of facing them, he pushed you away. He convinced himself that being around people who matched his wounds was easier than being with someone who reflected his healing. And that's the environment he chose, one that looked familiar on the outside, but drained him at the core. And here's what's hitting him now. Those words he said to you, divine feminine, they echo, loudly, over and over. Whatever was spoken between you, maybe a moment where he was dismissive, cruel, or cold, it left a mark, not just on your heart, but on his conscience. He knows it was unfair. He knows it was undeserved. And now that he's living with that choice, now that he's surrounded by energy that doesn't uplift or inspire or nourish the way yours did, he's seeing it all so clearly. You weren't just different. You were the one. There's something so sacred about the energy you gave. And this masculine is starting to understand that you don't come around twice. Your love, your patience, your insight. He didn't just lose a connection. He lost something divine. And the people he chose over you, they don't see him the way you did. They don't challenge him, heal him, or love him on that soul level. They just match the mess he wasn't ready to clean up yet. And the most painful part for him now, it's not just that he lost you. It's that he didn't even see what he had when he had it. You were standing in front of him, open-hearted and steady, offering something sacred. And instead of reaching for it, he measured you through the lens of his wounds. He mistook peace for boredom. He mistook your emotional depth for intensity. And now that he's been out in the world, chasing reflections of something that never quite landed. He's realizing it was never about finding more. It was about being ready for more. He sees now that you weren't trying to control him. You were trying to connect. You weren't trying to fix him. You were trying to show him that love doesn't have to hurt, that stability isn't dull, that depth can be safe. And now, with no distractions left to blame, no excuses left to lean on, he's seeing it plain as day. You were the lesson and the blessing, and it's hitting him harder than he ever expected. And that's the hard truth he's facing now. Because Spirit isn't letting him run from this anymore. He's in that space where life mirrors his decisions. He's surrounded by the same kind of energy he used to bring into your connection. Confused, avoidant, guarded. And it's only now, sitting in the middle of all of that, that he's realizing what he walked away from and why it mattered. You weren't just offering love. You were offering a chance to rise. And now he's sitting in the lesson, wishing he could take it all back, wishing he could undo the words, wishing he could go back to the moment where he chose what was familiar instead of what was true. I just pulled another card, and it's the moon. And that's exactly the energy we're walking into now: confusion, depth, and emotional shadows. Because the next message coming through is this: something is missing. And here's the thing: divine feminine. Your masculine doesn't just feel like he lost you. He feels like he lost a part of himself that only came alive around you. This goes so much deeper than the surface. This isn't just about you being too much or the connection moving too fast. No, this is touching the core of his soul. What I'm picking up on right now is the part of him that always knew something was off, something was incomplete. Even before he met you, there was this quiet restlessness in him, this ache that he couldn't explain. And then you showed up. You didn't create that ache. You revealed it. You held up a mirror that made him realize just how much was missing in his life. And that realization, it was overwhelming, because it meant facing everything he'd been ignoring. It meant questioning the way he lived, the people he surrounded himself with, the choices he made every day just to survive. You didn't just love him, you exposed him to truth, to potential, to healing, and that scared him more than anything else. You were the light, and he wasn't ready to see that clearly. And instead of walking toward you, even with all that fear, he went back to what felt familiar, what felt comfortable. But the thing is, that comfort came at a cost. Because the second he turned away, the second he chose the familiar over the sacred, he felt it. Something's missing. That empty space inside him got louder. And no matter where he goes or who he's around, it's still there. What makes this even heavier? He didn't just walk away. He made you question yourself. He may have dismissed you, told you that you were too intense, too emotional, too deep. But the truth? He knew you were right. He just didn't have the strength to admit it. And now he's sitting with all of that weight. Because the very things he pushed away are the things he can't stop craving now. Your truth, your warmth, your light. And divine feminine, you need to hear this. You were never too much. You were the blessing. Your energy is rare. It's not the kind that people come across every day. In fact, you are the kind of soul people only meet once in a lifetime, and they either rise to meet your frequency or they walk away and spend years regretting it. That's where this masculine is now, in that space of deep regret, watching you glow, watching you pour your light into the world, watching you do for others what he refused to receive for himself. Because here's the truth, you were sent, not just by chance, but by divine assignment. You were placed in his life to awaken him, to guide him toward healing, truth, and love. And instead of embracing it, he resisted. Not because you weren't right, but because he wasn't ready. And now, he sees it all. Maybe through your success, your smile, your joy. Maybe through mutual friends, social media, or just sensing your energy from afar. However it's reaching him now, it's hitting different. And he's realizing he had access to something sacred, and he blew it. That energy of I'm eating my words is coming through so strong, because now he has to watch you do for others what he didn't let you do for him. Now he sees you shining for the world, and he realizes, God sent you to me first, and I didn't see it. I didn't honor it. I didn't deserve it. But you were never the problem. You were the light. And even if he couldn't handle your intensity, even if he tried to make you feel like you were wrong for seeing so clearly, the truth is, you were right, all along. I just pulled the hermit. And this feels like the most fitting way to end this reading. Because what I'm picking up so clearly now is that this masculine is in deep, quiet reflection. He's pulled back, yes, but not because he's checked out. He's checked in. There's this entire world of thought and searching going on behind the scenes. And the message that came through with this card, I know more than you think. Divine Feminine, you've sparked something inside of him that he wasn't ready for. He didn't expect your energy to hit so hard. He didn't expect to feel this exposed, this curious, this shaken. And now, he's paying attention, closely. This is someone who is watching you, reading your energy, and trying to understand more than he ever allowed himself to before. It's like now that the dust has settled and the silence has stretched, he's starting to see you've become a mystery to him. Not because you're hiding anything, but because your light reveals so much that he was never taught to understand. There's something sacred about the way you walk through the world, and now that he's on the outside looking in, he's realizing he had access to something holy, and he turned away from it. That realization, it's haunting him a little, because now he has to witness your radiance from a distance. He has to watch you bless others with the very light he once rejected. And here's what's wild. This masculine may be studying you right now, quietly, maybe on social media, maybe through mutual spaces, maybe even spiritually, through dreams or intuitive nudges. But he's taking notes. It's like he's trying to piece together who you really are. And the more he learns, the more he's blown away, shocked, humbled. He didn't realize how powerful you were until he lost the chance to hold that power close. And now there's this strange twist in the energy, because I feel like he wants to surprise you. Like he wants to come forward and show you that he's been watching, learning, absorbing, that he knows more than you think, that he's grown more than you'd expect. It's almost like he wants to impress you, not out of ego, but out of this deep need to be seen as someone worthy of your light. What's even more beautiful about this? He's realizing now that the fear he had, it wasn't about you, it was about himself. You weren't too intense. You weren't too much. You were just real. And when someone's been living in shallow waters for so long, depth can feel terrifying. But now, he's been submerged. And he's realizing the fear wasn't about your light. It was about how unfamiliar it felt to be seen, truly seen, by someone connected to something higher. And what's really stirring in him now is this quiet hope that maybe, just maybe, it's not too late, that somehow if he shows you he's grown, if he speaks with humility instead of fear, you might still feel that connection. not because you owe him anything, but because deep down, he knows your heart was always open. He remembers how patient you were, how you gave him the benefit of the doubt, even when he couldn't give that to himself. And now, all he wants is the chance to come back to that energy, not to take from it, but to finally meet it. So if you've been wondering if he's still thinking about you, he is. But it's more than that. He's studying, he's seeking, he's preparing. And somewhere in his heart, he's hoping for the chance to say, I was wrong about you, and I see it now. Okay, this feels like a beautiful place to end the reading. If this message found you at just the right time, don't forget to hit the like button before you go. And if you haven't already, I'd love to have you subscribe so you don't miss any future updates we share here. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Sending you so much love, Divine Feminine, and I'll see you in the next one.